Welcome everybody. We're back. It is Beyond the Barricade, and it is 9:03, and we are live right now. All right, guys. I am going to be bringing my very special guest in a few moments. I just want to talk about a couple of promotions real quick. The next promotion I'm going to be at in live form is Wrestling Is Now, which is coming up next Thursday. It's a team up with Outlaw Wrestling. But anyway, Wrestling Is Now is going to crown their first World Heavyweight Champion, the inaugural Heavyweight Champion. So you're going to definitely want to come down to Patchogue and see this live at Stereo Garden this Thursday, May 18th. Doors open at 7. Make sure you go to Wrestling Is Now to get your tickets. And yeah, I know I can't wait either. All right. So without further ado, let me bring up my very special guest, the one and only Danny Nemisis.
What's up?
What's going on?
I'm excited, just hanging out. Long day, but here we are.
I know it was a long day, man. A long day for me as well. We got some comments here. Go Chris, PJ, and Joe. Yeah, that's for Wrestling Is Now. Yeah, we've been having some interruptions on my podcast since last Monday. So hopefully the security team at Wrestling Is Now is taking care of that for me. Hey Danny. Hey Serena. Serena is the executive booker of the show. Thank you for being in the chat, Serena. All right, let's start off with how you fell in love with this wonderful world we call wrestling.
Oh man, how much time you got? Okay.
We got time. We got time.
Man, for as long as I can remember. I mean, I remember, being from Mexican descent. I was first introduced to professional wrestling watching Lucha Libre, the Mexican style of pro wrestling, and then, of course, discovering the WWE.
Right.
I just remember, because my dad, he was a big fan of those old school kung fu movies from the 70s and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was searching for one. He couldn't find one, so he just settled for a Spanish channel. He just left it on, and pro wrestling was the closest thing to the action that he was going to find. And I just remember sitting and seeing all the colors and the masks and the high flying, and for me, being a kid at the time, it was like watching real life superheroes,
Right.
And just being a nerd, just stuck forever, and here we are.
Nice. All
20
right.
plus years later.
Who were some of your favorites growing up?
Oh man. So I grew up watching the last part of the Attitude Era and the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression Era.
Okay.
So we're going from anywhere towards, the Stone Cold Steve Austin's, The Rock's, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, that mix.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that always stood out to me the most was always Eddie Guerrero from that time period. I also used to watch a lot of ECW, even though at the time I was not supposed to. So the guy that stood out for me the most was Rob Van Dam, the airbrushed singlets and everything.
Yeah.
It was just cool. He was laid back and he was doing things that nobody else was doing. It was everything different.
Definitely.
A lot of the Lucha guys, of course, from when I was growing up. The guy that stood out to me the most was a pro wrestler called Cibernetico, who in the time in AAA, he was the main guy.
Uh-huh.
The list goes on forever. You could just appreciate different styles and different everythings.
Do you remember Rob Van Dam in ECW before WWE?
Yes. I mean,
that's the uncut Rob Van Dam right there.
Yeah, that was when I was not supposed to be watching Rob Van Dam. I must have been 8.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I'm old, so I'm 50, so I remember it vividly.
Yeah, no, this was late 90s, that time, and it was good to be able to watch all of these things and soaking it all up like a sponge, it was fun.
It definitely 100% fun.
Yes.
Especially for me, the Attitude Era was really crazy.
Yeah, they had a little bit of everything. I think looking back, there was a lot of gold, but there was a lot of the antithesis of that. There was just a mix of everything for me.
Right.
but it's something that we remember fondly.
Absolutely. Me as well. 100%. To this day. I mean, how can you forget it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All right. So tell me how you transition to being an artist.
Oh, that's another long story.
That's we have time. We have time.
I've been drawing since as long as I can remember. I just turned 31. For the
Mhm,
majority of that, ever since I've been able to hold a pencil, I've been doing artwork.
mhm,
I didn't start taking it serious until I got like to high school. I was able to do my first professional art gallery at 17,
mhm.
which at the time was like a big accomplishment because, of course, everybody else in the room was a lot older and a lot more experienced, and I had no clue what I was doing.
Right.
And yeah, I just stuck with it. It's something that I've always had a passion for and always wanted to eventually use it for something I liked. Like I was going to either use it for one of three things, which is um, for, you know, to do like music album covers
Right.
or like just personal, art, or what ended up happening, which is for pro wrestling. And yeah, and just still going strong. Some of
Well,
the posters behind me is artwork I've done.
I was trying to see some of those back there.
Yeah, take that ring light out.
Yeah,
This
the
was the
ring.
last one I did for We Are Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
And I've done stuff for promotions like House of Glory, for VXS.
Nice.
And now I'm a mainstay at Battle Club Pro. So
Okay. All right. I had Ruthless Lala on. You know her?
of course that's Auntie. I love Lala.
She said hello. She wanted me to say hello.
Of course, Lala's
Yeah.
amazing. I love Lala.
What has been some of your favorite portraits that you've done?
Oh man, like in general in wrestling, that's
In general.
work is big. In general, I feel like one of my projects like that I feel like right now is the staple of my art career is when I designed the Nemesis Battleweight Championship for
Hmm.
Battle Club Pro.
Hmm.
Forever will always be my favorite. It's going to be at the top of the list for me.
Right.
And then there's another championship belt that's also being created as we speak that I also designed. That also for me, it's like the
Oh
pit of my
wow.
career. As far as like my personal artwork, I have a black book that's all basically finished art pieces.
Hmm.
A lot of hours and frustration has gone into that. Um, and some of the other favorite projects I've done, I did merch designs for Santana and Ortiz when they were in Impact Wrestling,
Oh wow.
and I designed shorts for Homicide for a Bound for Glory pay per view.
Oh nice. All
That for
right.
me will always stick out because those are like notable works.
Right.
But it's hard for me to choose one, like because it's so much. I've been, like I said before, I've been doing artwork for a very long time,
Uh-huh.
and it's just I've done a lot of drawings, a lot of designs, a lot of merch for people, a lot of gear. Just the list is big, and
Let's focus on for a moment wrestling belts. What is your process to design a belt? It's fascinating.
well, the number one thing I always think is I think as a fan first, and then as a designer.
Hmm.
I think what would be a belt that when I see it, I would be like, wow, that's beautiful. You know, I
Hmm.
feel like a lot of promotions is not to knock on anyone. It's they'll take like a design and they'll just switch around a few things and they'll be like, oh, this is our belt. Where I try to be as original as possible. That's priority. And I try to not like have asked the design and try to make it to where I would look at other wrestling belts that I like, and I think to myself like, man, what stands out about this belt that
Hmm.
it makes me like it so much? It makes me like, wow, that's a beautiful design. And of course, I'll never copy a design, but I'll take like inspirations like, wow, this part right here, this shape looks great. How can I make it my own? How can I change this and fix that and or just make something completely different
Right.
where, for example, when I designed the Battleweight Championship, um, I told myself, like, why is it that lightweight titles usually have a more simplistic design than like a heavyweight title when it's supposed to be a prize, like a championship, you know, like you are the best of whatever division
Right,
or
right,
right. And I should have a very prestigious look of something that looks like a trophy, something that looks like a prize.
right,
And I just take all the elements of everything I just mentioned and just think to myself, does this look cool? Would me as a fan, would I find this cool? Would I find this lazy? Would I be like, it's all right? And I just tweak it till I'm satisfied with the design.
right.
And then, of course, once I got it approved by the owner of Battle Club Pro and everything, you send off the design to the belt maker.
All right, that's fascinating, man. I didn't know there was a like usually when I think of belts, I'm like, all right, you know, the designer and the belt maker are one and the same, but you're the designer and then you send it to the belt maker.
Yeah, I mean, there are people that do both, I'm sure.
Uh-huh.
But one of my biggest goals in life ever since I was a kid is to make my own championship. Something that not just like to have, but something that would be defended, something that would be contested for. And that was finally able to happen last year at Battle Club Pro. And I don't know, it's just something that it's a very like what's the word? It's very surreal
Mm-hmm.
because you only like when you dream about something and then it finally happens and it's something that's being contested for and it means something. It's like when I do an art piece, I kind of almost get very attached to the designs even when I
Right,
had the
right.
result in and I gave it to them. It's like, man, do I really want to give it to you guys? Like, you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I understand that getting attached to a design that you created. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Uh, Let me show you something. I'm going to show you the 23/6 title, which is part of our channel over here. Defended 23 hours a day, 6 days a week. And tell me what you
nice.
think of this design. It was handcrafted in Australia, just so you know.
Nice. Oh, wow.
What do you think?
I like that. It's very unique. The side plates are very unique. I like that.
Different, right?
Yeah.
That
23/6. That's really cool.
23/6 defended 23 hours a day, 6 days a
How come there's
week.
not what happened to the last hour of the day?
Well, you need an hour to sleep.
Okay.
So,
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I'm
fair.
saying? At least 1 hour. You
Yeah,
know?
that's fair.
Not me. I'm too old for that. I need more than that.
I mean, I'm not too old for that, and I need more than that too.
I hear you. Tell me about designing Santana and Ortiz. What?
Oh man, this was
How
years
was
ago.
that?
This was when I kind of first broke into the business, you can say, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I first started getting like more not behind the
Projects.
guardrail, and like I remember Santana was the one that reached out to me because I do have a graffiti background.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Something I did and like I dabbled with in my teenage years, and he liked the style that I was working with, and he's like, hey, like, would you be interested in like just to give it a try, a shot? And I was like, absolutely, like, why would I turn that down? And I at the time I wasn't even working digital. I had just like started like dabbling with digital artwork, which is what's necessary when you're gonna make merch.
Right.
And, and I drew something up in pencil. I presented it to him. He liked it, and then I had to digitize it, and then presented him again. He liked the design. The next thing you know, it was on Impact TV, and it was
Wow.
that was huge for me because that was the first time I've had anything on TV
Right.
in a professional wrestling show with talented individuals like Santana and Ortiz, and that was pretty cool. Oh man, this was years ago. This
Awesome.
was a very long time ago.
Yeah. Did they ever reach out to you after that and say,
Yeah,
"Hey, thank you" or something?
of course. Santana is somebody I at the time I was speaking to all the time, and like like we every time we would run into each other, it was just he is a New Yorker like myself, so
Right.
crossing paths wasn't really all that difficult. And I did a few designs for them. If I'm not mistaken, I did 4. I could be wrong. Either 3 or 4 t-shirt designs. And yeah, then things just started snowballing for me.
After that,
I
okay.
started branching out, but shout out to Santana and Ortiz for giving me that opportunity, by the way, because without them and a few people around that time,
Mhm.
um, I probably wouldn't be doing anything in wrestling right now.
Okay. Did you ever think about maybe becoming a wrestler yourself?
I think that every fan has at one point considered it.
Yeah, me too. A long time
I
ago.
think everyone that's watched wrestling and thoroughly enjoyed it has said, "Hey, I kind of wish I did that."
All right.
Um, yes, of course. But I working, with the Fallout Shelter, which is the wrestling school for Battle Club Pro and everything, and just seeing other people get to live their dreams. Um, it's kind of enough for me. I also feel like I found my place in the industry
Mhm.
where I don't think that, as never say never, of course, right? But for now, I think I'm good. You
All right.
know, I'm very happy with the things that I've done. Transitioning from being like an artist to like now doing commentary for Battle Club and Fallout, um,
Awesome.
and just being able to help out, lend my services when just being able to do like be a part of. I feel like I found my place and I'm content there.
Okay. And how is announcing like
Well, doing commentary for me
commentary?
that was a bit of a learning curve. Um,
Because
I
I did announcing for a show, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
it was intimidating at first, but I kind of feel like I kind of just like dove into it.
Right.
Um, I definitely 100% underestimated it. I thought, hey, I'm just gonna sit down, I'm gonna talk some stuff, and you know, but there is a science to it. There is like you have to develop certain techniques, especially if you're speaking for hours.
Right.
Um,
Not
like my
not
voice got worn out like during like before intermission the first time I did it, but I as much of a learning curve it was, and as difficult as I did find it at first, I loved it. It was something that I told myself, and I eventually told management, like, hey, this is something I like really want to do more. Like, if given the opportunity, I would love to like continue it. And and it's just like everything. I kind of became a student of it. I
right.
started, is it like there's people that will do tape study, like wrestlers do tape study to study the wrestlers. I ended up doing tape study, studying commentators.
Commentators.
Yeah, right. And I found myself not even like fully paying attention to the wrestling, but like listening more to what was being said and
Right.
how it was being said. And, you know, and it's something, I mean, I don't consider myself to be great at it, but it is something that I'm giving myself room to improve. And it's fun. I enjoy it a lot. I enjoy putting my friends over, like
Nice.
one of those things, or if they're heels, not putting them over.
Right.
And yeah, it was definitely a transition though. It was definitely a big learning curve for me that I had to get used to.
Okay. Who did you study?
Oh man, okay, so my favorite commentator of all time is Joey Styles. Going back
Oh,
of
okay.
course to
Yeah,
ECW.
EC Dub. Yep.
Yeah, I'm a big ECW fan, as you probably already noticed.
Me too. Yeah.
And Joey Styles, like what I liked the most about him is that he was different. He didn't, he wasn't doing the typical commentator voice. Like
Uh-huh.
something crazy would happen, he, oh my god, and it just became so iconic with him. And he would also call shows alone at one point when he didn't have a commentary partner.
Right.
And I've always like admired the like his ability to be able to adapt, to everything he was given. And then another person I studied a lot, another personal favorite of mine was Mauro Ranallo, who I
Oh, okay.
when he was doing the NXT
Yeah,
stuff,
NXT. Right.
I really enjoyed his work because you just felt like the excitement
Oh
of
yeah,
his ability.
100%.
And it's like you're not just watching a match and hearing commentary in the background. You're feeling excited because this guy like is making you feel excited, like yeah, and just his adrenaline for everything. And I as even though I don't think I would be as good as he is anytime soon, it is somebody that I do plan on like one day being able to have that energy at the very least.
Right. Serena's got a question. What made you want to do commentary?
I thought it would be fun. I remember
Okay.
telling a buddy of mine, like, man, I talk a lot of crap for the hell of it. Imagine if I can do that and to something a little bit more useful. um,
Okay.
and I thought about it, and I eventually asked for permission to be able to do so. I got the green light, and I went on ahead and just dove into it.
Okay.
I
All
don't
right.
know what to expect.
I hear you. Okay. Okay. Now, do you do the commentary there by yourself, or you have a partner?
Oh no, I definitely had a partner. There was no way I was going to be able to do that by myself.
I
Um,
know, but I had to ask.
my the commentary partner who I had the first time I did it was the boss man himself, Joaquin Morales. Who I tried to like study the way he was doing things to be able to have like a good chemistry with him.
Mhm.
You know, I could have done better, but it was my first time, so I didn't try to beat myself up for it.
Right.
And then after that, I try to get as much feedback as I could to be able to just get better at it.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna ask this. I think. What about other promotions? Do you have your eyes to maybe go somewhere else in the future?
Um, if they'd have me, like, I don't feel like I'm there yet.
Right.
Where I can feel more comfortable. But of course, like I'm always open to being able to work with whomever would have me.
You're always gonna learn, man. It's just
Absolutely.
same thing with me doing this. I'm always learning stuff, and
Yeah, and I mean, I would like to be able to work more here in the Northeast, right, with promotions that have more people, that more different environments and stuff, so I can start learning and in a different environment, different settings.
right, right.
But yeah, if like this commentary thing works out for me, of course I would like to work in a bigger promotion, one of the more mainstream places, like if anywhere I can sign a contract. But it's a process. I'm also like not in a rush to do anything like big. But if the opportunity arises, absolutely, why not?
All right. That's a good one. Mostly you are focused in New York, or you go to Jersey too?
At most, 90% New York. I've only been able to do one Jersey show at
Okay.
the Mecca. And that's when the Fallout Shelter and Inferno Fight Club did their joint show.
Right.
I had the privilege to call that show with Pete Rosato, which also was very fun. But yeah, 90% New Yorker.
Me too. Long Island, though. Who's one person you would love to work with to design them something, Serena?
Okay, so
Good
this one is probably going to be a very odd answer. Not really, maybe not. Anyone who would know me personally knows I'm a big horror movie fan. I like the heavy metal look and the
right.
gore and everything. And
Uh-huh.
one professional wrestler, and I've even posted this on Twitter a few times. One wrestler I'm really, really dying to do work for is Abaddon from AEW. I just love everything about her and her character and the Living Dead look and the makeup and everything. It's just so.
She's definitely got a unique look.
Yeah, and I love everything about it, and that is definitely one wrestler I am dying to do work for, because I just have so many ideas of how I would go about it. I've even tagged her on a few posts, like, please let me do that.
Let me do this.
Eventually, I'm still crossing my fingers on that one. But yeah, Abaddon, 100%.
What about portraits? Would
Like,
Abaddon be the same thing, like doing a portrait of her?
yes, absolutely.
She's
Like
definitely
I feel that I don't really do a lot of portrait work, even though I could do them. I like doing more like design work, or like my artwork's very colorful. Um, even
Right.
though like it's funny because I wear mostly black, but my work just has like all colors. But yeah, Abdon would 100% be one of them. I man, that's a very interesting question. I would draw pretty much just about anyone if given the opportunity, just because there's always something different to learn and to do, and a challenge that can be taken. Right?
Maybe a Beyond the Barricade portrait. You know.
Right. There we go. You know, I would
What's up?
100% be down for that.
I too love designing stuff, man. I love the process of like trying to design like whatever merch, shirts,
Yeah.
stickers, stuff like that. I was able to get. I saw another wrestler do this, so I followed suit, and it was this like design a shoe thing.
Oh,
I
nice.
kind of designed my own shoe, and I'm like, man, this is pretty cool. I think I could do this.
Yeah, no. The process
not announcing though. Just
the process of designing is always interesting to me, because I don't only see it as the artist. I try to also see it as a fan, because
right.
artists would always critique things one way, but would a fan like it? And ultimately, everything in wrestling is for the fans, you know?
Right.
And that's how I try to see things. Like, as a fan, would I like this?
Absolutely. All right. Dream commentary for a company. Who would it be?
Like myself included, or other people?
You're there.
I mean, I would love to call a show with Mauro Ronaldo or Joey Styles. Obviously, them being my favorite. But
is Joey still doing things?
I don't think so. I haven't seen anything. I think Mauro Ronaldo's doing MMA now.
He's doing MMA. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think Joey Styles is active. I mean, if he did come back, I would definitely want to work with him, of course. I think that's why it's called Dream, right?
That's right.
And another person I would actually like to work with in a different universe, in a different reality or whatever, would be Gorilla Monsoon. His commentary was top notch, unparalleled.
It was, man.
And I wouldn't even want to do it just to like, not only just to work with him, but to learn from him. Just because he just made you invested in the matches, and it's one of those.
Oh man, he's one of those people you just miss.
Yes,
hearing him. You know what I'm saying?
And even though he is like before my time, like just watching like those old matches back and just hearing his commentary, it's like wow.
Right. Like, yeah. Me too, man. Sometimes I see like you'll see it like on Peacock and stuff like that, or you catch it on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
Or they have like biography. I don't know if you've been watching that.
Yeah, of course.
Sometimes you'll see like a reference there, here and there.
Yeah, and the fact that he's always like in conversation, him and Bobby Heenan are always in conversation.
Oh, Heenan all the time.
Commentary, like it just says something. And of course, Heenan being another person, I loved his work, his style, how he just really made you feel. I feel like that's the difference between like your average commentator. I'm sorry, versus those guys. Those guys make you feel. It's like, yeah, like, oh my God, like they're voices, and they get you engaged more into whatever's going on. Yeah, and I feel like those are the guys that if I had powers, right, I would love to work with those guys, you know?
All right, we got a question for you from Serena. You said you're a horror fan. What's your all-time top 3 favorite horror films?
Oh, wow.
Oh, here we go, man. Can these guys stay away from me? Like,
oh boy, okay.
What is the Win logo doing up? This is not about Win. This is not about Win, guys. Come on, okay. Somebody get these guys out. What are they doing? These guys are messing with my system. What's going on?
It's the end of the world. It ends
Can you guys get off my feed, please? Come on now. This is freaking ridiculous.
That was interesting.
Thank you. Oh, you talk about horror elements. There we go. Right.
There we go. I gotta admit, I kind of enjoyed that a little bit.
Well, one of us enjoyed it, not me.
I mean, I'm sure, but that was wow, interesting.
These guys, man.
That's gonna be interesting. Maybe I should show up to see what that was all about.
Yeah, I'm telling you, wrestling is now, man. You should show up next Thursday at Stereo Garden, Patchogue, man.
Wow.
It's gonna be crazy, especially if we got stuff like this happening throughout. It's not just my podcast, other podcasts too.
Wow.
It's just interrupting everybody's stuff.
Yeah, I've noticed. That was interesting.
All right, enough about those guys. Let's get back. Let's get back to you. We left off with top horror movies, right?
Okay, so my number one horror movie is always going to, and it's oddly enough, I'm wearing the shirt, right?
Oh, nice.
I am
love it.
A huge fan of the original Exorcist. It's one of those movies that it was way ahead of its time. I also like. I'm
sorry to interrupt you. Isn't there a reboot coming?
I think it's a spin-off. It's called The Pope's Exorcist.
No.
That's already out.
There's one with this one, like The Exorcist.
Yes. Actually, now I'm remembering, you're absolutely right. I did hear. I don't know too much about it. I kind of hope they do make it justice, though. But Exorcist is definitely my number one favorite horror film of all time.
I heard that she's supposed to come back in it too.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know.
I'm also a big fan of like foreign horror films. I really liked the original version of The Ring and The Grudge, like those Japanese horror films.
Right.
I like the Conjuring universe.
Love The Conjuring.
I also like, not too long ago actually, I finished seeing the original Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, black and white.
Yes, which for its time, again, it was
contemporary
ahead of its time.
Right.
If you can like appreciate, I feel like if people can watch like older movies and with the mind of this is what they had at the time, they'd appreciate it a lot more. Favorite slasher is always going to be Michael Myers, even though the last two movies were not the best.
I was going to say, what did you think about the last out of the last two? The first one was definitely better.
Oh no, of course.
It's like, what the fuck did they do?
It felt forced. It felt forced, in my opinion. I felt like it was definitely like a money grab type of situation that they just wanted to capitalize off of the name of Michael Myers and like give it an ending.
This is a good question for you. Look. Oh man, can these guys get away? Danny, did you know that there's a horror themed restaurant in Farmingdale?
Oh, I did not know that.
It I think it just opened, if I'm not mistaken.
But now I know. Now I want to go.
I just saw a video of it, not like maybe 2 days ago, and I'm like, dude, this fucking place is awesome. It looks like you're in a like you go into a haunted house, but it's a restaurant.
That sounds awesome. I definitely want to check it out.
There's also horror themed gluten-free beer in Farmingdale as well. Yeah, you definitely got to check that out because I'm definitely, it's on one of my, I might go, actually, I'm on vacation this week coming up. I might just take a trip out there and just go.
Right, and then get back to me and tell me how that was like.
Go see some scares, man. What, did you see Evil Dead? Because I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't seen the recent one. A lot of people are telling me great things about it.
Right. It's on digital. I think I'm going to pick it up like this weekend to watch it.
Yeah. I've yet to see. I want to see it. I'm a big Evil Dead fan. But I've only heard good things about it. I think there was one person that I know that told me that they weren't a fan, but that person also nitpicks every movie that they watch, so I don't take their word for it.
Got it.
But yeah, no, definitely want to give that movie a watch soon.
Your thoughts on the last Scream that came out?
That's another one I haven't seen, and I actually told it's funny because I was talking about that movie with the boss man at Battle Club with Joakim, and he told me that the movie was great, and I take his word for it. He's usually really really good with his opinions on movies. Um, and I haven't seen the last one. I thoroughly enjoyed the one before that. I feel like it could have been better, but it wasn't bad.
Right,
And
right, right.
I definitely want to see the new one though. I just haven't been able to watch new movies lately. I've been too busy. Like my
Trust me.
actual my regular shoot job just
I 100% I get it.
been taking so much of my time. But
I'm way behind on films too.
yeah, the only recent film I saw was John Wick.
Oh, really? I didn't see the third one. I haven't seen the third one yet. I've seen
Yeah,
the first two.
I haven't seen them all, honestly. But I went. It was fun. It was. I feel like you don't really need to see the other ones to enjoy this one.
Uh,
Um, but man, I haven't seen Scream or The Evil Dead or even the Super Mario movie that everyone's talking
oh,
about.
that was great. I went to see that in the movies.
See, that's one that I've
That
also
was
been wanting
great.
to watch that everyone's been praising, and I
So good.
get to see it.
Definitely make time for that. That was a good one.
Yeah,
When I went to go see it, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be okay.
yeah,
And then I ended up loving it. I can't wait till it comes out on digital.
yeah.
Not that I have time to watch it anymore.
Right.
But
Like I feel like unless it's like on a streaming service for me to go to like a movie theater and stuff, it's just
it's hard, yeah. No,
it's
I get
very
it.
hard.
Get it. I get it. Since you're a Latino descent like me, a couple of Latino wrestlers that are in the indies that you think are up and coming.
Oh man. That is listen, I mean of course, before I mention anyone else, students at the Fallout shelter, we have a lot of Latino students there. Those are
Okay.
the guys that I would suggest you guys go watch. We have now weekly episodes on YouTube on Battle Club X. Definitely
Okay.
check those episodes out. We just dropped a new episode today, actually. So of course, my friends and peers there, definitely give them a watch.
Okay.
More mainstream guys that I feel that I've been enjoying a lot. I guess the indie darling right now is Hijo de Vikingo. That guy is nuts, and of course he ended up having those matches
AEW match.
W and everything. I being a lucha fan, I was watching his work when he was still like wrestling in AAA, like exclusively almost.
Right.
And I would tell like my friends, like, man, I can't wait for this guy to get to the States because I know once he gets to the States, people are gonna love him and they're gonna want him everywhere. And lo and behold, he got his visa. Now he's blowing up in the indies everywhere.
Right.
GCW, AEW, he's doing everything. And I feel like he's a name definitely. Commander is another indie wrestler right now. I think he just got signed by AEW, unless I'm mistaken.
I don't know if he got signed, but he's definitely he's been with them for a couple months.
Yeah, I remember the first time I saw Commander here in the States was here in Queens when GCW did the show in Melrose Ballroom, and Commander was there. He did amazing. I feel like the style of Lucha Libre right now is becoming more included here in the States.
Right.
I mean, they've always kind of been here, but I feel like there's more of it than there's ever been, like especially in the mainstreams with guys like Phoenix and Pentagon and now Hijo de Vikingo and Commander and even just the list goes on.
Okay. All right. All right.
The representation is definitely there now.
There's one that just stood out recently, Damian Priest.
Yes, exactly. And and that whole show that they had in Puerto Rico.
Oh, it was crazy.
Like I said, the Latino representation in professional wrestling is probably the best it's ever been.
If they had that type of crowd at every show, every show would be great.
I feel like the rowdiest crowds are either Latino crowds or European crowds. And
Commander did get signed. All right.
yeah, you see, yeah, I thought I saw it, unless I'm remembering wrong. But yeah, no, the Latino representation in professional wrestling here in the States is probably the strongest I've ever seen it.
Me
It's
too.
awesome to see, fellow like pro wrestlers
Right.
from everywhere, of course. Like there's the Japanese influence, there's the European, and now there's the Latino influence that's been like stronger than it's ever been. And it's just fun to it's just I feel like we're living in a good time to be a wrestling fan.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right. Any last thoughts for the audience that they're watching about what Danny Nemisis is all about?
First and foremost, I am a person that loves professional wrestling like a lot. It's something that for the most part consumes my life, because if I'm not doing
Me too.
if I'm not working or going to a rock concert or watching a horror film, 9 times out of 10 I'm involved with something in professional wrestling. I'm either designing something for someone, whether it's merch, gear, or a poster. But I feel like if there's one thing I do want to say about myself when it comes to wrestling is to stay tuned, because after I finish one project, the next one's just going to be better. That's usually the goal. I made the Nemisis Battle Championship, and now the next belt that's coming out the Fallout Shelter Championship.
Okay.
It's a lot better than the Battleweight Championship, and I'm excited to reveal that once I have it. And
awesome.
It's just stay tuned, because you just never know.
Please share it with me so I can see your work. In fact, send me the one for the Battle Club. I'd like to see that one.
Yes, I can send that to you right now.
Awesome. I'm excited, man. I really appreciate you coming on, Danny. I had a great time talking to you.
No, likewise. I had fun.
Interruptions and all.
Interruptions were just made. That was the cherry on top for this one.
Don't worry. Should have seen Ruthless. She went nuts. Man, I had a great night meeting the two of you tonight. Thank you for coming on. Please keep us informed. We will share whatever you're doing.
Thank you so much for having me.
If you want to come on and just talk about something that you got excited going on, hey, just let us know, man. We'll have you back on, brother. And hopefully I'll see you on an event somewhere.
Yes, definitely.
I too am traveling now, which I'm going to go into in a moment. Plug away your appearances before I go into mine.
Where I am more on is Instagram. You can follow me there at Danny or Nemisis. Also same handle on TikTok. And on Twitter, I am Danny Nero 30. Which that's my 3 socials where I am more using more on with the wrestling and the artsy stuff. And on Facebook, Danny Nemisis.
Nice. Awesome.
Always down to talk about art and wrestling.
Me too, man. I'm always willing to talk about both those things. All right. Now, as for me, next up for me tomorrow at noon is my next Wrestling Is Now video with Alvin Alvarez. And he's got some words to say about a certain individual in Wrestling Is Now. You're not going to want to miss that. It's crazy.
That sounds interesting already.
Crazy. Also coming up, no, you got to bend a little bit. All right. From Wrestling Is Now, it is the big week of the show on Thursday. So I got Robert Franklin coming on Monday at 7:00. You're not going to want to miss the hot commodity himself on the show, as well as my pal, PJ Savage, 8:00. That's my bud. He's coming on. He's fighting for that inaugural championship. Then I'm going to have Mr. Main Event, Sal Savelli on Tuesday as well for Wrestling Is Now, as well as Papa Don. He's coming on Tuesday as well at 9:00. Wrestling Is Now is taking over my life over here, man.
Yes, no, that's awesome.
Whew. Let me see what else I got going on. I will be interviewing also next week We had to reschedule from yesterday. The Devil's Rejects from MCW in the Midwest. They'll be coming on, as well as the East Coast Bad Boys. Thank you to both those teams for understanding I had a situation yesterday I had to deal with. Appreciate them. And also in June, which is June 16th, it's a Saturday, I will be at New Evolution Wrestling. I will be there alongside this. Oh man, I'm stumbling over here. I'm trying to find the picture. Alongside the 23-6 heavyweight champion, he will be with me as well. And we will see, man. Maybe he'll defend the title that night. Who knows? Also coming up for me, my home promotion, Victory Pro Wrestling. Oh, that's the old show. I guess I don't have the new one. But anyway, the new one is Justified, and that's coming up on June 6th. So make sure you go to victoryprowrestling.com and get your tickets for that event, as well as sponsorship, because sponsorship is very important, Danny.
Yes, it is.
How important is it, Danny, to you?
It's very important.
I agree, very important. And yeah, man. So I got a lot of stuff coming on too, man, Danny.
Oh, it sounds exciting. I'm happy for you.
We're both busy guys. What can you say? We're both big deals.
But the good thing is that we're having fun being busy. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you, Danny, I've never had so much fun in my life. I used to go out all the time and party and stuff, and I just don't do that anymore. All I do is wrestling stuff.
Yeah, but sometimes wrestling's a lot more fun than going out and partying. So
it is.
That's our party now.
It is, and I get to meet a lot of great people, such as yourself.
Thank you. Likewise.
Lala and a bunch of other people. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Wrestling Is Now coming up next Thursday. It's going to be a big show, man. Out here.
I saw the card. It sounds awesome.
Stacked.
Yeah.
Stacked card. I'm going to pull it up real quick. Just look, Joey Conway, Dickie Rods, Chris Cage, another Latino just like us.
Yes.
Brando Lee, Hamlet, Papa Don, like Face, a whole bunch of people coming on.
Yes.
Fighting for this belt. It's going to be crazy. So crazy. But anyway, Danny, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you. Oh, you got a comment. Oh,
there we go.
Tanya loves you.
Love you too, Lala.
Oh, that's Lala. I was like, oh. Lala loves you. We love Lala. She's
yes, we do.
She's the newest pal of Beyond the Barricade and Papa Dank, just as yourself. So everybody else, I will see you. Well, I won't be live tomorrow, but you won't want to miss the Alvin interview tomorrow. I'll be back live on Monday at 7:00. Danny, stick around after this broadcast real quick. After for everybody else, have a good night and hashtag it's not the end of the world.